Good morning. How are you? I am hoping that you are doing well. We've had the craziest weather, like 70 degrees, 40 degrees, all over the place. So, how about you? How is your weather? That's my question. How is your weather? So, I am pulling us up on my phone so I can make sure I can see all the comments as we go today. You may hear background noise uh, because I have Lily and Ezekiel here today with their mom. Their mom's here too. Let's not forget her. So everybody is upstairs, but it's not uncommon for Lily to kind of escape and get away and come down here. You were seconds away from having Ezekiel, who was just playing with me, but I handed him off so that he didn't fuss through the live. So welcome. Say hi when you're logging on. What's it called? And hashtag replay if you're catching this in replay. This video today, our conversation is part 3 in the series, The Act of Self-Forgiveness, and specifically talking about the freedom of self-forgiveness. So we have spent time in the first day talking about the value of forgiving yourself, right? We talked about the benefits of it. And then yesterday, we talked about the process of forgiving yourself. It's really key to understand both aspects of that. If you don't understand why it's beneficial to forgive yourself, it's less likely that you have any desire to do it or are motivated or driven to do that. But once we dig in and we get into the process, right? We talk about the hard work in the process, and it is hard work. But once you start getting into it, like little by little, it's like an onion. You just kind of start peeling back the layers, and everything just starts to feel lighter and lighter. And so what we're going to talk about today, like I said, it's our final day in self-forgiveness for this series, and we are going to talk about getting into the freedom of it, like what that means. So we talked about the why, the benefits. We talked about the method, the exact method. If you didn't take notes, if you want the exact method written out, let me know. I'll do that for you. All right. But today we're going to get into the freedom. And this is important to remember that this is not an hour-long activity or just a day, right? This could take a day, a week, a month. It could take longer. It is a process that is so essential to recognize. It's not just a quick activity, check it off, move on. This is a process, and you can't skip ahead any step. Okay, skipping a step does not complete the process. All right, and if you don't complete the process, you'll be so you definitely want to go ahead and take the time to follow through and do the whole thing. Okay, so today it's the third part to it. It's the in addition to the value that we talked about the other day, and actually all I have are questions for you. So as you're watching, like I call Facebook is delaying with comments today, so I'm really not getting anything. But as you're watching, I want you to go ahead and comment. Even though I'm not seeing it right this second, I will see it when I come back to this in a little while this afternoon. So I want you to comment as I ask these questions, because this is key. This is the key part to what to why. Like if you fully can understand what you'll be feeling, what freedom is, you will be running to this process. Okay, so today we're talking about freedom. It is the ultimate benefit of forgiving yourself, right? Freedom from what? Only you know. What does freedom look like? That's what we're going to talk about. And how does freedom feel? And that's where we're going for the remainder of this session, the remainder of this series. So first, let's talk about what it doesn't feel like, what it doesn't look like. And go ahead. I want you to answer yeses and nos. Actually, maybe I should number these because it'll be easier for me to come back and and look in the comments and be like, oh, that's the one you answered. So I'm taking a quick second here to number my notes, because when I come back, I always look at my notes to compare to. So, okay, go ahead. First question. And when you answer this, put a 1, yes and no, and any other comments. Okay. Do you feel anxious when certain conversations start or certain thoughts come to mind? Like, do you feel anxious? And how does that feel? How does that anxiousness manifest for you? Butterflies in the stomach, a racing heart, a pounding head. What does that anxiousness feel like to you? And do you feel anxious when you're in certain conversations that are about to start and you know it's coming and you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? For me, it is the stomach, and it is a lot of bathroom trips. I mean, just I'm not trying to be gross. I'm just being real. I mean, that's what when I am worried about something like that, and I know, you know, I've got feelings connected to it. That's what I get. Okay, that was question number 1. Question number 2. Do you eat when you are worried or stressed when thinking about specific topics? Right? Do you run and just solve your problems with food or feel like you solve your problems with food? How does that feel? Like, what does that look like for you? Is it closet eating? Is it just grazing? Or maybe just the opposite, like you can't eat at all, like you just can't eat at all. What is that like, right? When you're about to approach specific topics, like specific topics that you know you haven't dealt with. What is that like? Question 3. Do you have trouble sleeping? Like, are you exhausted, burdened, or maybe you're sleeping all the time and you're not functioning? Like, how is that manifesting for you? You know, how does that feel? And this is again because something's going on, because your brain doesn't shut down, because you have stuffed enough that it's starting to come back at you. What does that feel like? Number 4, question number 4. Do you isolate yourself? Like, hide from others, hide from yourself, or try to hide from yourself? Maybe this manifests in the form of self-sabotage. What have you got going on? Do you isolate yourself? So those are really 4 big ways that we're chained, we're bound, okay, by our thoughts, by letting things run ahead of us, by the actions may be over, but we've not been able to forgive ourselves. And so when certain conversations start, when certain events are coming around, right, these are the actions that we defer to because we've not dealt with the situation. We've not forgiven ourselves for the situation. So what do you do when you are riddled with emotions and actions and you have never forgiven yourself for it? Maybe it's not one of these. Maybe it's not something I've mentioned. These are very common ones. Maybe it's something else. What is it that you do? Okay, that's what I want to know. Okay, and looking at that, right? We've talked about these things. This is the stuff that is going on inside. This is the stuff like that you try very hard to mask, okay? Or, like I said, you go into that isolation mode so you don't have to mask. You're just not around people. I can always tell when people that I'm closer to are kind of running in a different direction than they know that they should be running in. And they're kind of working through something or avoiding working through. And it's always because suddenly my phone calls are not returned. My text messages are like 1-word answers, right? And I know what it is. And one day they call, because let me just tell you straight up, I'm relentless. I don't give up on anybody. So one day they call, like, hey, I'm sorry, this was going on. I'm like, I know what was going on. Because that's what we do. We separate ourselves from others, which is so the furthest thing that we should do, right? But it's kind of a form of punishment as we're working through things. So, what is it that you do when you are riddled with something that you've not forgiven yourself for? So here's the key. I asked you all these questions so that you could recognize what's going on in your own head, in your own body, in your own world. And then this is what my answer is. Like when we're talking about freedom, freedom is none of that. Like all those things you're feeling, freedom is the opposite of all those things. It's none of those feelings. So when we're talking about freedom, we are talking, freedom is waking up and not feeling a weight, a burden, right? Not feeling like dread as we get out of bed. Freedom is breathing steady and calm, right? Not getting anxious, not getting a stomach that's tossing and turning as we are waiting on topics that happen. Freedom is peace. Freedom is peace. That's the value of self-forgiveness. The greatest value is freedom from all of that burden, from all of those issues. All right, freedom is contentment and peace. Freedom is joy. Like if you could think of how you feel and know that freedom is the exact opposite. That's why I wanted to ask how you feel. So why would you not want that? Right? Why would you not want to go through that? Well, let me give you a couple of reasons. The biggest reason, fear, right? We are scared not of the end result of freedom. We are scared of the work and the process that we have to go through. We have to know that our why is stronger than our fear. Like, I want to do this, to be done with this, is stronger than I'm scared to do this. Okay, and only you can make that decision. What's it called? But that's what we're working for, right? And that's what we're headed towards, and that's what we've got to do. So here's my other question: what are you waiting for? What is, sincerely, what is holding you back from forgiving yourself? Something to think about. If you don't know the answer off the top of your head, and sometimes we don't, right? Sometimes we've got to think about it, what it is. Okay. Fear definitely weighs up there. What's it called? Not wanting to deal with it. Denial. Denial is another big part that weighs up there, like why we don't want to go through this process. But let me tell you, you can have all those feelings, and they're valid. They're totally legit feelings, but the freedom that comes on the other side of it absolutely negates all those feelings. Absolutely negates it. So you could be sitting there in this space of fear, knowing that on the other side of this is freedom from fear. It's freedom from fear. On the other side of it is freedom, like in this denial, lying to ourselves space. On the other side of that is just truth and peace and calmness, right? That's what we're striving for. I mean, that's really what everybody is striving for. But it doesn't just fall on you. It's not bestowed upon you. You have to do the work to get there, okay? Intentional doing this work intentionally, intentional outcome, okay? You intentionally go through the process of forgiving yourself, you will have intentional freedom. That's what that is, okay? You can look at it as you go through the hard work so that you can be free from the drama, from the emotions, from the feelings, from the connections, from the burdens, from the heartache, right? You can be free from all of this, the loneliness, because you know what? You get very lonely when you start isolating yourself from others, very lonely. So that is the final video here. So the act of self-forgiveness, the value of it was video 1, the process, video 2, and today, video 3, the freedom. And that is the greatest reason to practice self-forgiveness. You will be free from the bondage of not forgiving yourself and all the angst and all the feelings and all the emotions that go with that. 100%. Let me ask you this other question, kind of as just a little bit of an analogy. Have you sat in church before and the pastor was speaking, or you heard what the topic was and you went, I don't want to talk about that today? Okay, that's an indicator you got something else going on. Okay, sitting with friends and another topic comes up and you're like, I don't want to deal with this. An indicator you got something going on. Okay, break out the exact method. Like I said, if you need it written down, just tell me. I'll go ahead and put it in here. I'll write out the EXACT so that you can see all of those. Work through this. Like, truly, seriously, work through this. It only enhances your life. That's what it does. It enhances your life and gives you just this great sense of freedom to just be happy, to be content, to be peaceful. And that's really what we're all striving for. So it is Thursday. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Next week, we will only be doing a live on Tuesday and Wednesday. I am going to be in North Carolina for a friend's court hearing that has been postponed what feels like 97,000 times. And what's it called, from a car accident. I have shared that before. If you're new, though, you haven't heard that. You can be praying for them as we hopefully finally get to have this court done and done with. It keeps getting postponed for almost 2 years now. It's been getting postponed. So Thursday we will not be having a live, but we will be doing a live on Tuesday and Wednesday. So I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I will see you guys Tuesday. Totally new background because I won't be home. All right, I will talk to you guys soon. Go forgive yourself. Okay, there you go. You've got permission from me. Go forgive yourself and have a fantastic weekend.